say.
Just to start off, obviously Mo missed the first game of the season. Is there any update on her playing on Wednesday or how she's progressing?
Yeah, I mean, I think she'll do more today. So we'll do more in practice today, and then we'll, again, evaluate after every day. I know that it's a boring answer, but it's the thing that you know we do when you come back from injury. It's like you go through a practice, you add a little bit more. You see how you are post-practice, you see how you are the next day, and then we evaluate. It really, literally is one day at a time.
That hesitation right there, that's not confidence. When a coach says it's a summing answer and literally one day at a time about a rolled ankle in Game 1, that tells you something. The Indiana Fever are walking on eggshells with injuries, and they have every reason to be paranoid. Because what happened last season wasn't just bad luck. It was a catastrophic failure of player management that derailed their entire playoff run. And now, watching Stephanie White navigate these same questions in 2025, you can hear the anxiety in every carefully chosen word.
You mentioned with Caitlin and just the adjustments during the game, that kind of being an ongoing thing. Could you just expand upon that? Is it like an injury related or just kind of just basic maintenance?
No, it's basic maintenance. And you know, I think when you think about the expansion of medical teams in the W, you know, it's like every other professional team. Like you have more hands on duty and more people on duty and more hands on deck, and you can go back and you can get regular maintenance adjustments. You know, I know everybody's focused on Caitlin, but our other players are going back to get regular maintenance too. So yeah, it's just going to be something that's going to consistently see. I wish I could go get an adjustment at halftime.
Is it like just like a chiropractor, just kind of works on them, loosens them up, or?
No, I don't. You have to ask the medical staff exactly what it is. I stay in my lane.
That's fair.
So Caitlin Clark is getting adjustments during games, multiple trips to the back, sitting on special cushions, wearing back braces on the bench, and we're supposed to believe this is just routine maintenance? Here's what actually happened during that ABC broadcast. Holly Rowe reported Caitlin was getting work done on her groin area. Then, after the game, both Clark and Coach White changed the story to just a back adjustment. The problem is, players don't make multiple trips to the locker room during a game for routine chiropractor visits. That's not how professional basketball works. My husband played in the NBA for years. I've watched thousands of games. Yes, players get retaped. Yes, they get oxygen. Yes, they take bathroom breaks. But when a star player disappears to the back 3 separate times in one game, wearing visible back support, and the explanation keeps shifting, that's injury management, not maintenance.
Crazy, outrageous physical plays, that is a win for the game. And I think that's a win in the long run for the game. So I just wanted to point that out. So hopefully we see less injuries, not only from the Fever, but from many other teams in the W this season. Lastly, on Coach Stephanie White, I did want to point this out because there is this clip that's going around.
4 to 5 players on minutes restrictions. Let that sink in. This is game 1 of the regular season, and the Fever already have 4 to 5 players they can't play full minutes. Lexi Hall, Aaliyah Boston, Taya Harris, Monique Billings. That's not a rotation. That's a medical ward. And here's the thing that should terrify Fever fans. Stephanie White just admitted they've expanded their medical team specifically because of last season's injury crisis. That's not a flex. That's an admission that something went fundamentally wrong with how they managed player health in 2024.
Role with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. And we didn't see as much as we would hoped for with that in the season opener. And that is unstoppable. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston play so well together. Like, they are an unstoppable duo. And so a lot of fans are wondering, like, why weren't they running it? And Coach Stephanie White was like, well, other teams kind of know it's coming, so we kind of have to adapt. And that was something that we saw last season with them as well. Honestly, we saw it in 2024 as well with Coach Chris.
Now we get to the real problem. The Fever signed Bray Hall to a developmental contract. Another guard, on a team that's already drowning in guards and desperately needs size. Look at what they're going up against. The Liberty's front court has Satu Sabali at 6'4", Leonie Fibic at 6'4", Brianna Stewart at 6'4", Jonquel Jones at 6'6", and Han Zhu at 6'11". Every single one of those players is an all-star caliber talent. The Fever counter with Aaliyah Boston, and that's basically it. Michaela Timmons is getting heavy minutes out of necessity, not because she's ready. Nalissa Smith is gone. Monique Billings can't stay healthy. Dallas was bigger than them. The Sparks are bigger than them. Minnesota is bigger than them. And the Fever's response to this glaring weakness was to sign another guard because she went to South Carolina. That's not roster construction. That's nostalgia.
Everyone else.
You probably aren't going to see it necessarily on the first side of the floor anymore. Everybody's game plan is ready for that. I think playing through AB as a hub and inverting some of those actions. I mean, she showed last year that she can be a point forward, so to speak. I mean, she handled a lot of our ball handling duties with Caitlin off the floor. We want to play through her. We want those two to be able to play off of one another.
She went on in this interview clip and she talked about we need to get Kelsey Mitchell more wide open looks. It's like Kelsey Mitchell will get more wide open looks if you have the high screen and roll with Caitlin Clark. And I just don't truly understand it. And I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, I don't even want to listen to interviews anymore. Like, I don't even want to hear what anyone has to say. Like, I don't want to.
Here's where Stephanie White lost me completely. She's talking about not running the Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston pick and roll because everybody's game plan is ready for that. That's loser mentality. That's reactive coaching. You have the most unstoppable two-player action in the entire WNBA, and you're not running it because the other team knows it's coming? The Golden State Warriors ran the Steph Curry, Draymond Green pick and roll for 8 years. Every team in the league knew it was coming. They still couldn't stop it. Make them stop you. Don't stop yourself. The reason Kelsey Mitchell gets open looks is because defenses collapse on the Clark-Boston action. The reason the Fever's offense flows is because that pick and roll creates 4-on-3 advantages. And Stephanie White is out here saying they won't run it on the first possession because Dallas might be expecting it. This is the same mistake Christy Sides made last season, adapting your entire offensive identity around what the opponent might do, instead of forcing them to adapt to you. It's backwards thinking.
Up to what we're seeing. Like, even the emphasis on defense for this Fever team, that was the biggest thing through training camp, and everyone's talking about like our defense. Your defense was bad. Like, your defense was really bad. Your defense was worse than your offense in the first game of the season. And again, it's the first game of the season. It's fine. The Aces got blown out. Like, it is what it is. Not the end of the world. By any means, not the end of the world. But like, if that was your biggest emphasis and it looked that bad, then I don't know. I'm going to start not listening to the interviews and just see what we get with this Fever team. And the last thing that I'll also say when it comes to Caitlin.
But it's not just the offense. The defense was supposed to be the emphasis. That was the entire focus of training camp. Stephanie White talked about defense in every single interview. The players talked about their defensive improvements, and then game one happens, and they give up 92 points to a Wings team that lost its best player. Araik Ogunbowale and Paige Bueckers were getting whatever they wanted. Isolation after isolation. No resistance. And here's the kicker. Raven Johnson, their best perimeter defender, barely played. The one player on that roster who can actually stay in front of elite guards, and she's glued to the bench while Araik is dropping 30. Either the defensive emphasis in training camp was all talk, or something isn't translating from practice to games. Either way, that's a coaching problem.
To see her playing with more joy, the kind of joy that we saw her play with in her rookie season, it's less about like, she had a fine game. She had 27 and 5. Like, she had a fine game, and it's crazy to even say she had a fine game because we know Caitlin Clark's potential. We know that there's more in that tank, and it's even less about the numbers that show up on the stat sheet and more about just the energy and the passion and the killer instinct and the will to win and the clutch gene and just everything that comes with it and the joy that she brings to the court. Like, she brings she brought in these millions of fans. She brought in so many millions of fans, and you could see from clips of 2024, like the way that arena would erupt in the second quarter. Like, not even towards the end of the game, the arena would erupt and be so excited, and she would be running laps around the gym, like getting the fans involved. And I just want to see a little bit more of that. There was a mentality that she had.
Now let's talk about what's really concerning. Caitlin Clark's joy is gone. I'm not talking about her stats. 27 points and 5 assists is a fine game for most players. But we know what Caitlin Clark is capable of. We watched her at Iowa. We watched her rookie season. There was a mentality she had where she could miss 23 threes in a row and still pull up for the 24th like it was guaranteed to go in. That confidence, that swagger, that infectious energy that made arenas erupt in the second quarter, not just at the end of games. Where is it? I watched her sitting on the bench during that Dallas game, staring at an iPad, reviewing film while the game was happening. And I thought, just go out there and hoop. Stop overthinking. Stop trying to be perfect. The fans didn't fall in love with a player who studies film on the bench. They fell in love with someone who plays with pure, unfiltered joy. Something changed. Maybe it's the injury concerns. Maybe it's the pressure of being the face of the league. Maybe it's the coaching style. But that killer instinct, that will to win, that clutch gene we saw in 2024, it felt muted in game one.
About Cameron Brink, she said, we need Cam to produce. She's got to get out on the floor with some confidence and do what she's capable of doing. And there has been question marks around Cameron Brink.
Here's what makes this significant. The WNBA is averaging 87.4 points per game through the first 2 days of the season. That's the highest scoring output in league history for a season opener. The referees are calling games tighter, which means more free-flowing offense and fewer injuries from excessive contact. First major decision the league has made in years that actually protects its stars. Breanna Stewart complained about it, said she couldn't get into rhythm with all the whistles. But you know what? I'll take a few extra fouls if it means Caitlin Clark isn't getting clotheslined every time she drives to the basket. I'll take a few extra whistles if it means we don't see another season-ending ACL tear, like Cameron Brink suffered last year. But here's the uncomfortable truth about Cameron Brink. 8 minutes in her season opener, 8 minutes, and her coach Lynn Roberts went on record saying, "We need Cam to produce." That's not encouragement, that's a warning. Brink is 23 years old, coming off a torn ACL, and her coach is already putting public pressure on her to perform or lose minutes. Is Los Angeles the right system for her to rebuild confidence? She's great for LA off the court. The brand deals, the personality, the marketability, but on the court, in Lynn Roberts' system, does she have the freedom to make mistakes while she finds her rhythm? Because right now, it doesn't look like it. And that brings us back to the Fever. Kate Martin got waived by Golden State and signed to a developmental contract with the Sparks. She was visibly emotional in her interview, almost tearing up talking about getting cut. And this is just the beginning. As WNBA contracts get more expensive, as the league grows, we're going to see more ruthless roster decisions, more players getting cut, more loyalty taking a backseat to winning. The Fever have 4 South Carolina Gamecocks on their roster now: Aliyah Boston, Raven Johnson, Taya Harris, and Brea Hall. Stephanie White loves Dawn Staley's player development system. That's great, but you don't win WNBA championships by collecting college teammates. You win by building a balanced roster that can match up against teams like New York. The Fever are small, they're injury-prone, they're guard-heavy, and their coach is already making excuses about why they won't run their best offensive action. That's not a recipe for a championship run. That's a recipe for another first-round playoff exit. So here's the question Fever fans need to ask. Is Stephanie White the right coach for this team? Because the same problems that plagued them under Christy Sides are showing up again. Injury mismanagement, questionable rotations, reactive game planning instead of imposing your will. The only difference is Stephanie White has better PR. Watch what happens over the next 10 games. If Monique Billings' ankle injury lingers, if Caitlin Clark keeps making multiple trips to the back during games, if Aliyah Boston stays on a minutes restriction deep into the season, if they keep refusing to run their most effective play because opponents might expect it. Those aren't isolated incidents. That's a pattern, and patterns don't lie. The Fever expanded their medical staff because they know they have an injury problem. They're being cautious with minutes because they're terrified of a repeat of 2024. They're not running their best offense because they're scared of what Dallas might do defensively. Fear is driving every decision. You can't win a championship playing scared. You can't build a contender by collecting guards when you desperately need size. You can't develop Caitlin Clark into the player she's capable of being if she's spending half the game in the training room getting her back adjusted. Something has to change. Either the Fever commit to actually building around their stars with the right personnel, or we're going to watch another season of wasted potential. Another year of what could have been, if only they'd stayed healthy. Another early playoff exit while teams like New York and Minnesota and Las Vegas build dynasties. The talent is there. Caitlin Clark is generational. Aliyah Boston is an all-star. Kelsey Mitchell can score 20 any night, but talent without the right system, without the right roster construction, without the right health management, doesn't win championships. So Fever fans, I want to hear from you. Are you confident in this roster? Do you trust Stephanie White's rotations? Do you believe the injury concerns are just precautionary, or is there something deeper going on? Because from where I'm sitting, Game 1 raised more red flags than it answered questions. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it.